Hey, I'm Gabriel O'Sullivan. Thanks for joining me again today. Just want to remind you that these episodes are put up pretty frequently, and so we certainly want you to go ahead and make sure that you like and subscribe so that way you can be getting your notifications when they come out. What's this show about? This show is to help men overcome the challenges and difficulties of life. This show is to help men who need encouragement so that way we can be there for one another as we're walking through things in life that we may not understand or we think are unfair or unjust. Speaking of that, we're going through a series right now talking about some of the characteristics of the Lord, and one of them is that He is just. So, what in the world does that mean? Well, when we're talking about justice, we're thinking about things that are right and that are fair. And so, if the Lord is just, that means He is always right and He is always fair. Now, thankfully, God is also merciful. We'll get to that in another episode. But the fact that God is just and that He is fair and that He is only going to do things that are that way should give us encouragement, because sometimes when we're going through problems in life, we're thinking, man, this isn't fair. This isn't right. Like, why did I deserve this? And you know what? You may be right. It may be also that it's not that you are deserving of something that is difficult, but maybe or painful or hurtful, but maybe what you're going through is because God believes that you are strong enough to handle it. Maybe He's thinking, hey, I can put this guy through this test and this challenge, and he's going to come through with flying colors, and he's going to get better because of it, and he's going to be able to help somebody else down the road that's going to go through the same thing. So maybe the challenge that you're getting put through right now or that you're going through, maybe it's not because it's something that you brought on yourself. Maybe it's not some sin that has been, that you've created or committed that's now coming back to get you and you're facing the consequences of it. Maybe it's something where God trusts you. He trusts you more than you trust yourself, and He's allowing you to be prepared for something even greater in the future. Now, personal experience from that, my goodness, we talked about it a few episodes back, but my wife and I unfortunately went through the loss of triplet girls years ago, and that was a really difficult time that I would not wish on anybody, and certainly wouldn't have wanted to go through it myself, not for me or for my wife. But coming out of that now, many, many, many years later, what we see is that even though that was a difficult time, God allowed us to go through that. He allowed us to go through that so that way we could be a blessing and encouragement to other friends and folks down the road that went through the same thing. And certainly there's many other things that we've gone through in our lives that have been challenging and difficult, like potentially, I'll say like the loss of my little brother. He committed suicide in 2010. It was awful. Just unfortunately just got mixed up in drugs, and I think he just felt like that was his only way out. That was terrible too. But what has that taught me? Well, it's taught me that, hey, there's an opportunity to give grace to folks that are going through those struggles of addiction. We don't just judge them and think that they're some bad people, because that's not the case. He was a great man, but that stuff just owned him, and it unfortunately ended up taking his life. Doesn't mean he wasn't a great dude. Doesn't mean he didn't love people, because he did. But again, like I said a minute ago, that stuff owned him. And so it gives me the opportunity to have grace for folks that may be going through those kind of difficult times with addiction in their life. And so we get back to the fact that the Bible says that God is just. He only deals in things that are right and things that are true. And so that can give us all a bit of encouragement as we go through the challenges and difficulties of life, because God is going to bring about something that seems like it's an injustice. He will eventually right that wrong. The Bible says that God says that it is His to avenge. He will repay. So any injustice that you may be going through and suffering right now, you can be assured one day that wrong is going to be righted. Now, I want us to remember that we were created for a purpose and on purpose. We're not going to let the struggles and challenges of life keep us down. We're going to use it like conditioning. We're going to use it like push-ups. We get knocked down, we're going to get right back up, and then we're going to be stronger. We're going to allow the lessons that are learned through failures to make us better and make us stronger. Thanks for joining us today, and look forward to visiting with you next time.